Everyone, this is One Man Zerg with the UEN.com, and I'm here to show you a build order today on the Zerg, and this is called the Idra build, or the 14 pool 15 fast expand. And what it is it's a build order that's focused on getting your pool up relatively early. 14 is a pretty normal time to get up your pool, but then you still get to expand pretty quickly, which is something that I always like to do as a Zerg player, and really gives the Zerg players a lot of advantages in a lot of games. And then you're going to see at 9 I'm going to get an Overlord, and then I'm going to go and follow that up with drones, and then more drones until 14. And then you always want to change your rally point to make sure you're on a mineral patch that's nearby you. And then after that, I usually like to set the rally point on a easy to get to mineral patch. From here you can see Zerg is kind of disadvantaged in that they can't get to these upper crystals as easily because they're always going to spawn their drones on the bottom. And then I always like to rally point my hatchery or rally to number 5, and then this starting Overlord I'll just set to number 3, and then continue to get drones until I get to 14, and then I'm going to save up some crystals until I get 200, and then I'm going to use that to build a spawning pool. And remember, send your Overlord in. You want to see what race they are. If they're Terran, you might want to get out so you don't get killed by those Marines. And if they're another race, you can sit in there to wait until they get whatever it is that can shoot you down. So if it's Zerg, if they get a spawning pool, you're probably going to want to start moving out because the Queen's going to pop, and that can take out your Overlord. And then continue to build those drones. Remember, the faster you get them, the better your economy is going to be, the better you can build that expansion, the faster, that is, that you can build that expansion. So I see, they're going gas, whatever, not too much insight. And then move my Overlord out of the way so that he's not going to get killed, because I'm really not going to gain too much knowledge. And then start moving your drone out pretty early, I would say around the 180 mark. So you can see I'm slightly late, but not too big of a deal. The higher level you go in playing, the more crucial the timing is on these things. And then I get back up to 15, and then maybe even 16 if you want to get an extractor, and then get another drone, because you really want to build that Overlord on 15. And then see if I can pop my Queen. There's that Marine, he's hitting the Overlord, but the Overlord's out. So I just built my Queen, and then I'm going to want to build an Overlord. I like to get my Queen out as fast as possible so she can start spawning that larva and or creeping on the map, and then get out a Zergling pretty quick. If you see your opponent is getting troops earlier with that starting Overlord, or if you're not on a map like Scrap Station and you need to scout earlier, you can take a drone off the line at around 9 and send it to your opponent's base, because that early scouting is really critical to know what your opponent's getting, and then what kind of balance do I need in terms of minerals and gas and and then Zerglings. Am I going to build more drones or more Zerglings? What am I going to do? And then I like to send my first group of Zerglings over to the Zelnaga towers on the map. Remember, group your hatcheries together. So I have mine as 5, and then I put my Queen as 4. So it's real easy to get that. And then as soon as you get that 100 gas, just watch for that, be very mindful. Get that speed upgrade. And be sure to get your Overlords quick too, because when you're spawning 4 larvae, it's really difficult to control all that. And then watch for your other base popping. And you can see quickly, I've already got up to that 26, so I needed to build that Overlord there so that when these pop, and my Overlord's about to pop too, that I can continue to build drones or Zerglings or whatever it is. And this is a big, important transitionary point in the game for the Zerg player. Always send your Overlords to different locations, scout what they're doing, have the entrance. But right now I have a few options I can do. I'm getting near that next 100 gas point, so I can continue to build troops like my Zerglings. And then if I'm under attack, I'll want to have put up a Spine Crawler by now, maybe a Spine Crawler at both bases. And then continue to group your Queens so you can spawn that larva. And then I try to get the larva to spawn at about the same time so it's easier on myself as a player. But okay, back to the transitioning. So right now I can transition to a lot of things. I could get a Baneling's nest and unload a lot of Banelings. I could switch to Roaches if I see they're going some strategy that wants Roaches. Like if they have mass Zealots, I might switch to Roaches. And then continue to build those Overlords so you're getting into trouble there. If I want to tech to mutas, I'm just going to go and upgrade to a lair. Or if I want to go to hydras, I can do that too. Hydras are really good versus a lot of gateway troops. They're really good versus marauders. But then you have to watch out when gateways get Templars and when marauders and marines get medevacs. It makes it so it's very difficult to keep up with that if you just have hydra roaches. And then yeah, if you're not as good at your macro game, I would recommend building several overlords at a time so you don't get caught in that. But if you're a more high level player, you have to remember that you got to keep your production in line with how many overlords you're getting. So you never want to have too much space, because that means you're not using your minerals as effectively, and you never want to have too little space, because that means you might get trapped with having an excess of minerals when you could have used that a lot more effectively. So now you see my hatchery is about to turn into a lair. A typical strategy at this point is to go into mutas, and then if I'm going to do that, I'm going to switch to gas production, and then I want to, as soon as it pops, you want to have your 200 up here at least, and then you can spawn that spire, and that spire is going to take a long time, so it's advised to get a lot of zerglings to keep up production with that, and to watch for these popping. Remember, continue to use your queens to spawn that larva on them, and I'd recommend at maybe one point getting some creep tumors. I think creep tumors are somewhat underrated by the lower level players, because they're really good. They save your troops so much time and energy. And then watch that map. You can see my troops are about to get hit, so I want to surround and then attack. And you just do that by using your troops, right clicking past the enemy, and then when you're near the enemy, attacking ground or clicking stop. I like to click attack ground. And then just keep watching this, keep producing troops. You know, get both those. Watch your extractors. Make sure you're getting troops on those, and then drones into those, and then focus on what your build's about. So I'm just waiting for this Mutalisk to pop the spire, so I can pop some Mutalisk, that is, and then I'm gonna use those Mutas and probably go on a quick harass of my opponent while trying to buy time in case they're pushing with anything. And then just continue to get those overlords, move them all over the map. Think about what upgrades you want. If you're going roaches, you're going to want to go with the burrow. If you're going with some drops, which I always like to add in some drops, get this speed upgrade and then the carrying upgrade. And you can hear that Mutalisk sound. That means it's time to get some Mutalisk. So then just drop as many as you can until you run out of gas. And just keep that gas coming. And then as soon as you get those mutas, I'd recommend just hitting your opponent. And then remember, this to drop a creep tumor over there. Remember to keep using all your minerals. You can see I have like 500 right now, so I want to try and drain those as much as I can, and you want to balance that production. So right now I'm really gas intensive, so I'm going to make sure I max out my extractors. And then this is the point where this build really, you know, can start kicking into overgear. So I move my Mutalisk into group 2. Ooh. And then I'm going to move the Mutalisk over here to hit them, and at the same time, you know, buy that time with my Zerglings to defend. And you can see, if you're right now, you see any pressure coming, you have seeing the entrance to their base, you know what's happening. Then you can put down some spine crawlers with that extra minerals, and then just get in that back of the base and harass their troops and make them play a little back and forth. And then you can bring your Zerglings over, see what they're doing. And if they come in with some small reinforcements, I just recommend targeting them down with your Mutalisk. You can target small groups of reinforcements relatively easily with your Mutalisk, and then if you have an injured one, you can always pull them out. And then focus on those SCVs first. And that's always going to help you win the game. This is an easy or medium computer right now, so it's not like it's a real challenge, you know. And then you can just, you know, watch your Zerglings and see what do you want to do and when do you want to do it. And then if you have something like Hellions and you have Zerglings, you know that the combo is that your Mutalisks are supposed to take out the Hellions and your Zerglings take out everything else. And that'll let you do the maximum amount of damage with the least amount of losses, kind of thing. So recap: at 9, get your Overlord. At 14, get your spawning pool, build 2 more drones. At 15, get your hatchery. And then after that, you can get your extractor. You can go with a slightly later extractor, but then you get a later boost to your Zergling speed. And the boost to your Zergling speed is really what keeps you safe when you're under attack from your opponent in the early game, because that speed allows you to surround Hellions, to surround troops, to push back armies, to apply early pressure, to do a lot of stuff. It really makes the Zerglings that much more dynamic. And then when you finally do get that speed upgrade, get those Zerglings in place, get your expansions kind of working, you can decide, do I want to go lair tech for Spire? Do I want to go lair tech for Hydra? Do I want to go lair tech for Infestor? Do I want to switch to a Roach build and go mass Roach? Am I going to go Baneling and Baneling bust them? There's a lot of transitions from there, and the transitions from there should be governed by what your opponent is building. And if your opponent you see is Terran and he's going to wall in his base, then you're not going to want to, then you might want to Baneling bust, or you might want to just tech quick, you know, and just determine what is going to be the best thing for you. So I hope that helps you guys out. I hope that's a good build order for you guys. Tell us if you want them shorter, if you want more of this strategic perspective after the build, or if you just want that standard opening. So yeah, if you guys have any comments or questions or anything, just leave them below the video, and thanks for listening.